how do you encourage a culture? How do you promote a culture where it's safe? It's a safe environment for people to make mistakes. Like, you don't want them to think that they cannot, because then people will not take a risk either. So how do you promote that?
I think it starts with you, right? As a leader, I'm the first person to admit if I'm wrong and I raise my hand. And it shows that you are vulnerable. It shows that you're human, that you make mistakes. Telling them that you're going to learn from your mistakes. That's the only way that you grow. And, nobody really wants to make a mistake, but it happens way too often. And I think if you own it, you raise your hand and you say, what can I do better for tomorrow? And as long as you continuously try not to make those mistakes again, and be better the next day, I think that's, again, it goes back to culture. And as a leader, you need to lead by example and let them know that it's a safe place.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think it's definitely very important, because it's unavoidable. It's gonna happen eventually. So
we try to go against it, but it doesn't prove well.
Yeah, exactly.
I make mistakes every day. I make mistakes every day, and you just gotta own that.
And I think an important part as well is like, okay, then you made a mistake. Now, how am I going to fix it? Or how am I going to flip this mistake and make it into something good? Like, we all make mistakes, but it's also important to know how to make the most out of it, or bring the most out of it, I think.
100%.
So what advice do you have for young leaders on embracing their mistakes and using them as opportunities to grow?
You're going to teach the next generation, right? And you're going to teach your staff, whether it's at pre-shift or use yourself as an example. Use your experience. Even with the guest, I've always been transparent. I've tried as best as I can to be transparent with the guest. Letting people learn by you, and again, it goes back to being you for the face, the guest, the operation. Just continuously use yourself as guidance, and it will prove right.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, talking about team empowerment, how to empower your team, leadership strategies.
Yes.
How do you empower and motivate your team members to reach their full potential?
Well, I learned by the best. This person's still my mentor today. And when I was a young manager, and he would tell me, I'm coming to the restaurant and we're going to walk through, but I want you to walk through the restaurant first, full walk through front and back. And then I'm going to follow you, and we're gonna walk by, and I'm gonna tell you all the things you did right and what needs to be corrected before we open the doors for our guests. So showing them how it's done. Anytime guest complaint, opening the restaurant, closing the restaurant, tell them and show them how you would like it done, and then give them the empowerment to go and do it, right? That doesn't mean that you're a lazy general manager or a lazy manager. That's really just showing them by example what you expect from them. And I really do think I've learned more than ever. You really think that you've checked the boxes and you've opened the restaurant or closed the restaurant perfectly, and you really, now you can walk into a restaurant and really see what needs to be done. It's all about the details. So guiding them, giving them the example, and then following up with them and coaching them as to maybe how they could have done it better. You don't want to take away their authenticity, and you don't want to take away them being individuals. Let them run it the way that they need to do it. But obviously the task needs to be done the way you want it or need it. So lead by example.
Okay. Yeah. And that's the way you learn as well. Like, and then what qualities do you believe are important for young professionals to develop and become effective leaders?
First and foremost, self-awareness, right? And how do we get that as we find our voice? I really think you need to ask for feedback, and know what others are thinking about you, and how your management style or ways of being affect others, right? That your mood, that your personality can affect your entire culture. Um, Stay authentic, stay humble. Doesn't matter where you are in your career. You did start at one point, and whether it was a dishwasher and now you're running your own kitchen, stay humble and be authentic. Self-compassion, compassion for others, and stay flexible. Be flexible to standards. Being firm on the standards and not the person. I think that's really my point. And what I mean by that is if you have set clear expectations in the restaurant or hotel or wherever, uniforms, you have a set way that you're expecting it to be. They come in and they're not ready to work. You send them home. That's not a personal attack. That's a firm example of your expectations, so everything stays consistent. So I would say self-awareness first, authenticity, self-compassion, compassion for others, and being humble, and vulnerable to your mistakes, and leading by example.
Amazing. I was just talking with a friend today about that how a good leader do not only has to guide or motivate people, but you also need to have that human factor, you know, like be empathic with them, get closer to them at a personal level. And that doesn't mean being everyone's friend, but just, you know, like there needs to be so much more than being a boss. Like you're a boss, you're a manager, but you need to be capable to communicate or being closer to your people, right? Than only doing that. So can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, like I didn't realize until others right early on had mentioned, you're in a bad mood today, or you looked a little stressed today, and that made me realize, like, you are in a glass house as a manager, right? I mean, everybody wants to know what you're doing, how you're doing it, and you're like a parent. Everybody is looking at you to be the example, and you have to still stick to being firm, but that empathetic way of being, and understanding that each and every one of your team members is different than the other. You cannot coach or speak to them the same way, and everybody has a different skill set, or as long as the end goal is to take care of the business and the guest and each other. I think say hi to your team when you walk in the door. I used to walk around the entire operation before I started my day to say good morning, and tried to at night to say good night. How are you? How's your family? It's not getting too personal, but it's showing them that you care about them, to your point, that we're a family, right?
Yeah.
I would say more of a community than a family. And this is the culture that we're going to bring, and it makes people want to come back, and it makes people want to come back day in and day out.
Definitely. And just something as simple as a hello or goodbye, I think makes people feel seen, and that's important. Like if you feel seen at your work, if you're like, I'm Camila, I'm this person working here, I'm not just a number and just some random another person that works here, I think that's really important, and it takes very simple actions to manage stuff like this. So I think it's important.
100%. And I agree with you. And oftentimes we get so caught up in our day, even before we get in the door, that we're look, you have to check yourself and say, what did I do today that I could do better tomorrow? And I would always lean in on my team to say, how did I do? How did that meeting go? What are your thoughts? Did I look in it like I was in a bad mood today? Because you might think, right? You might think that you're one way, and others don't. And I think it really raises the bar in your culture, and like you said, purpose. People want purpose. People want to be felt that their purpose matters and heard, and feel a sense of belonging and investment in their future. And they're not just coming to work. And that's how great businesses are ran, and great teams are made, for sure.
Definitely.
Sure.
Definitely, yeah. I agree. So now I think we're coming close to the end of our little live session. Do you have any other advice, any other thing you would like to talk about, any other recommendation to the people who are watching us and who are just starting in this industry, what has been your most
Yeah.
valuable advice, best lesson?
Well, I want to say one thing is thank you for committing to this industry. I think it's a very, very special industry and very unique. And everybody should at some point in their life work in the restaurant industry or the hospitality industry, wherever it is, because it's hard. And kudos to you all for investing in your career and your time and your future. I think the most important is find yourself a mentor, and find yourself somebody, whether it's one person, I have multiple different mentors throughout my career that I still lean in on, depending on where I have been in the course of my career. Somebody that's invested in your time and your goals in your life, and to help you flush out, right? There's mentors, and then there's sponsors. Sponsors is somebody that's, speaking about you and your goals when you're not there, right? Advocating for you in your promotions. But a mentor really is somebody that's following your career, somebody that you can lean in on, be vulnerable with, not knowing what I'm doing with my professional life, personal, whatever it is. But find yourself somebody that you can lean in on, especially when it comes to your mental health and your goals. It's really, really important. There's so many people leaving the industry. So many people are burnt out, and I think we're in a very critical state, a very good critical state. We have, all of you have an opportunity to affect change on this industry in a very positive way. So we need you to stay mentally strong and healthy. And I'm here on LinkedIn. You can get my contact from anybody. I do mentoring through volunteer work as well as professionally. So I'm here to guide anybody that needs that assistance.
Amazing. Thank you very much. And I think it's very important, as you say, for everyone to have a mentor and someone they trust and someone they can learn from. So thank you for your advice, and everyone, here's Deb, and definitely take this into account. Now, moving on to the questions, we have one here. What's your advice to young women in this industry? Going back to what we mentioned at the beginning.
Young women. Oh my God, there's so much to say. You know what? Be you, and don't let somebody tell you that you can't do it because either you don't have the experience or whatever. The industry is changing. We have so many people behind us supporting us, and if you look now, more women are in the front, more women are in the back, and it doesn't really matter. And sometimes, your experience matters. Sometimes it's just who you are as a person, and don't change who you are. And if you're not seen or heard in one operation, somebody else is going to give you a chance where you're seen and heard. So again, lean in on your mentors and lean in on your support to guide you. I actually had somebody, real quick, I just had somebody recently reach out to me. They want to get into the industry, and they're a woman, and they're terrified. They don't have the background, and I'm speaking to them next week about just some tips, but just be who you are. And the world is changing in a positive way. So be part of it. Don't be afraid.
Amazing. And any other question, if anyone has any other question regarding the topic, our conversations, Deb, her role, her help, just please done them here and we'll happily answer. Let's give a couple minutes. And thank you so much, Deb, for being here with us today. Again,
I love it.
A pleasure. And I
Always.
think we have a lot to learn from you, especially these young people starting in this industry. So
if there's anything I can do, any questions, anybody wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, the team here knows how to get in touch with me as well. So I'm here for full support.
Definitely, we'll be sharing your LinkedIn with the guys in our social media. And well, if no one else has a question right now, I think this is it. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the collaboration. All of you out there are doing amazing, and keep at it. Really proud of all of you. And congratulations wherever you are in your career.
Thank you so much, Deb, and see you in the next one.
Yes.
Thank you again.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Perfect.
Thanks, everyone. All right. Have a great day. See you
Bye
soon.
bye.
Bye. Thank you.